Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Spearhead Sundays. I'm your host, Lewis Spears. We've got Keelan here as well.
Hello.
And huge news. We're in December. You know what that means. Guys, it's time for the annual Patreon drive. We're trying to blow the Patreon up. We've got discounted annual rates. And what's going to happen is we do this every year, starting from last year. Last year, you know what we did with it? We did, help, I can't afford to pay my mortgage. This year, you know what we're going to do with it? Keelan wants a job. We want to expand the team. We want to make even more content. We want to bring back the stand-up comedy clips. We just want to increase the production value of everything and the output as well. We've got my good friend Keelan here and also Mitch, who we've spoken about a little bit, both helping out with the business for peanuts. What we want to do with your support is we want to bring those two boys on board and really just skyrocket the output, because there is so much stuff that we are capable of creating. We just don't have the manpower yet. So we've been focusing on YouTube, doing the big swing on YouTube. That's really been working. I hope you guys have been enjoying all of that type of stuff, but we really want to be filming stand-up comedy clips and putting them out there. Right now, you know, I've got a bunch from last year's tour and the others. You watching videos?
Sorry about that.
I'm trying to secure you a job, and what are you watching?
I was watching. Yeah.
Do you want to work? Do you want to work here or not? You want to sit around and hang out and just be my mate?
That's what it is.
Right now, that's what it is, and that's what I don't want this guy as a mate. I want him under my control as a thrall, and the only way we can make that happen is with your support on Patreon. So if you sign up for the annual reward, it's heavily discounted. You don't have to do a monthly thing. I know a lot of people don't like monthly things, and we've got a custom enamel pin that we're going to drop the design of in a couple of days, but you're going to love it. If you're already an annual member, just stay subscribed. You'll get the pin. We're also going to send them a little Christmas gift as well.
Christmas gift.
This is something that Keelan's come up with. So I've come up with, you know, extra content, more stand-up comedy stuff, an awesome enamel pin.
Okay, that's true.
You know, really just expanding and getting the dream alive now that I'm well and bringing it back. And Keelan, he was allowed to have one idea.
Most of the ideas are mine, but yeah.
Most of them are yours?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I just anyway.
Anyway, guys.
Anyway. I'm feeling
This is why you need to sign up annually on Patreon so that I can say I command you to stop disagreeing with me. What we really need back in our relationship, Keelan, is a good nice power dynamic. And right now, as mates, we're equals, and I'm sick of it.
And that'll never happen again. Unfortunately, you could be paying me $1 million a year, and that won't ever come back.
What? I don't want an equal. When I'm an employee, I'm a good boss, but I must be referred to as sir or lord. And don't look at me in the eyes. All right. So anyway, that's on Patreon. That's enough shilling. Welcome to the show.
How's your mind?
My mind is feeling quite foggy, actually.
Are you feeling stressed?
Incredibly stressed. I'm feeling very stressed.
Fatigued?
I'm feeling super fatigued, yes.
What's the antonym to sharper?
Blunt.
Blunt-minded?
Yeah. Obviously, you must be feeling quite blunt if you don't know the opposite of sharp. Dull.
Try your dull-minded.
What, a coffee?
Well, try your coffee and then have this.
What is this? A mystery elixir that Keelan's been trying to get sponsors for the show. So far, all he's gotten is free samples. So we won't say the brand name, but we'll enjoy a free sample of this mystery elixir.
And it's advised to drink it with coffee.
Right. Well, it is very strange for me to like what's happened here is I've just let Keelan have free reign because I really want to hire him. So I'm like, mate, if you go out there and you get a sponsorship, go for it. Because that's money in the bank that we could use to pay Keelan. Hasn't got any of that, but he has come back and been like, hey, man, a stranger is going to send you some liquid in the mail. When it arrives, please drink it.
Pretty yummy. My mind already feels sharper.
Yeah.
I feel less stressed and I feel energized.
Well, fucking relax, man. They haven't paid us any money, all right?
In many ways, I feel like
I'm excited because he got something for free.
Reclaiming my brain.
Okay. You can't get around I banned him from saying the brand name because they're not giving us any money.
Just
so
wait till next
instead,
week.
He's settling for all of the slogans that are on the bottle. That's a loophole that I'm not happy
wait
with.
Till next week.
Yeah, all right.
Get your pocket money together. Wait till next week.
Yeah, no. Get your pocket money together now and support us on Patreon. All right. Anyway, guys, the ABC is going to war with Joe Rogan. Have you seen this clip of the ABC boss? It's really good. So this is the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, responsible for such great cultural contributions to the world as Chris Lilly in blackface and one time they had me on SBS. So that's pretty good. And also a bunch of terrible TV shows that nobody watches other than your grandmother, maybe. So anyway, this is the boss of the Australian Broadcasting Corporation answering a question from a journalist about much more popular media.
I have a question about Joe Rogan, and you've sort of touched on elements of this in the US. He's obviously the world's most popular podcast host. He has 3 billion listeners. He's sort of managed to successfully capture that bro market in America. And his influence is such that in the wake of the US election, the Democrats have said that one of Kamala Harris's mistakes was that she didn't appear on his program. So I'm just wondering if you had any observations about what's behind the Joe Rogan effect, how you believe he's managed to so successfully capture this huge market. And then for us here in Australia, how would or should the ABC be going about capturing that kind of audience?
Great question. She's gone, hey, this is the most popular form of entertainment in the world, and even in Australia. This guy's podcast is bigger than your entire television network that is supposed to be providing entertainment to Australians, for Australians, by Australians. What can you do better to capture the attention of anyone who isn't in hospice? And this is what he says.
Look, I'm not sure that I'm the right person to respond to that question. I am not a consumer or enthusiast about Mr. Rogan. And
just the start of I'm sorry to keep pausing here, but the start of his answer is, I don't listen to the show. And I don't know if I can answer the question, how could the corporation that I'm in charge of do a better job? But the important thing is, I do not listen to the show. Anyway, here's an entire minute of my thoughts on the show that I don't listen to.
His work.
Shocking.
I am not one of the 3 billion, and I'm unlikely to be 3 billion and one anytime soon. I think people like Mr. Rogan prey on people's vulnerabilities. They prey on fear. They prey on anxiety. They prey on all of the elements that contribute to uncertainty in society, and they entrepreneur fantasy outcomes and conspiracy outcomes as being a normal part of social narrative. I personally find it deeply repulsive.
Brother, you're in charge of the national broadcaster, and you can't string a sentence together without sounding like anyone that's in a dementia ward. The guy sounds like Joe Biden. This dude is saying that Joe Rogan is repulsive. You know what I saw Joe talking about the other week? Just farts. I don't know why Joe has been like transformed into this super right-wing figure when kind of all he ever does is have people on and listen to them, and he doesn't really push back very hard. But because generally more left-wing people will not do his show, it starts to lean right because right-wing people are the only ones that'll actually go on and have a fucking conversation with him. So then you just end up having one type of voice on the show, which even then is often tempered by other guests. Like just about every musician or comedian that the guy has on is more left-leaning because most artists are.
And to think that someone has such remarkable power in the United States is something that I look at in disbelief. I'm also absolutely in dismay that this can be a source of public entertainment when it's really treating the public as plunder for purposes that are really quite malevolent.
Dude. I think like the worst faith interpretation of Joe that you can have is that often he's just a bit of a dummy who will believe whatever the guest in front of him is saying. And then even if the next guest contradicts the previous guest, he will kind of agree. I don't think he's like some malevolent, calculating presence who's trying to fucking destroy the world. And it's so disheartening to see like the leader of our government-funded broadcasting company, which is supposed to foster Australian talent, which can only happen if they are garnering Australian eyes, like people actually watching. It's very disheartening to see someone look at the most popular form of media and so clearly misunderstand it. Like the opinion that he has is obviously informed by whatever he has been told, not by him actually watching the fucking show, which ironically is oftentimes what Joe will do. It's just, my opinion is whatever the guy across from me says. But like, if you're in charge of the fucking broadcasting company, you gotta look at the most successful entertainment in the world and figure out what they're doing well, not just dismiss it as evil because it's more, that's easier for you. And I think that's why the ABC is just dying, and that's why no one under 35 gets a shot on that entire network or really anywhere in Australian mainstream media, because they look at the internet as something to be derided and hated. And that has been a problem since I started, probably even before. I started in 2012, and all I was ever met with was derision from mainstream media types and just lack of faith. And this is not just me, this is the experience of all of my peers. Anyone who creates content online has been met with this. I mean, you look at the biggest fumble the ABC had, even in the last 5 years, they had Bluey. They gave away the rights of the biggest television show on the planet. Bluey is so big that American toddlers are coming out with Australian accents. 6-year-olds in Texas are saying brekkie. That's us. We did that. We created the biggest television show in the world. It's bigger than Peppa Pig ever was. Biggest TV show in the world, biggest cultural impact Australia has ever had. And they gave away the international rights to the BBC for some reason, because Australia has absolutely no faith in any new idea or anything that breaks any type of mold. Whether it's comedy, whether it's a new entertainment medium like podcasting, the medium, or whether it's a new type of television show. Our Australian government-funded and private broadcasters will look at new ideas and go, that's not going to work. And either ignore it or actively stand in front of it and try to block the progress of it. It's very frustrating to see that this guy so clearly dislikes, and it's not even really about Joe Rogan. The guy clearly dislikes podcasting. Like, it's a new type of entertainment. And he looks at it and goes, anyone who's on that is evil, so the figurehead of it must be worse. Because television is the only thing that matters. Like, there is a reason why the ABC is just rotting and dying. And it's also very ironic to see like a figurehead of a news program talk about sowing fear and disillusionment and preying on anxiety, which is what most news programs do. And this is not to say that I don't think Joe Rogan is perfect, but I do think like a really great question like about the whole Joe Rogan thing is, why was Joe Rogan super progressive? Why was he such a staunch supporter of Bernie Sanders in 2016? And how did he get all the way over to the point where he was supporting Trump, a guy who even a couple of years ago, he would have just looked at and gone, this guy's nuts. I mean, he did say this a lot. Said that I explicitly said, I do not want to help this guy. How did he get from being a Bernie Sanders guy all the way over to supporting Trump? It's a good question for Democrats to ask and Americans to ask, is like, how does this type of thing happen? And I think it happens, you know, when because I've met Joe only once. I don't know him at all, but he seemed like a nice guy. But I really couldn't make a judgment on his character other than what I've seen on the podcast. But what I see is a guy who lived in LA, loved LA, and then his city was destroyed, and he watched it get destroyed, and he watched politicians in charge of LA do absolutely nothing. And he fled his city, built something else in a more Republican area, and he loves his life a lot more. You know, that does a lot to someone. We're like, oh, I'm in like a really strong Democrat place and it's fucking horrible. There's crime everywhere. Now I'm over here and things are a lot easier and a lot safer. Maybe these guys have the wrong idea. Maybe they're not going to change anything. And you couple that with, you know, one guy who did seem poised to change everything, Bernie Sanders, who probably, I think, would have beaten Trump instead of Hillary. They actively stood in his way because he was too progressive. And the Dems are just as scared of change and progress as the fucking ABC is. I don't know. It's not even really about Joe Rogan. It's about the head of what is supposed to be a government-funded thing that should be fostering creative talent and the TV and film industry. Look at the most popular form of entertainment that has ever existed and be like, I'm not even going to look at it and see why it's working. Like, even if it wasn't Joe, if it was a left-wing podcast, it was the biggest show in the world, and the guy was like, I don't listen to it, I'd be like, you shouldn't be in charge of a fucking entertainment empire then, if you're not even going to look at podcasting and why the most successful one is where it is. You're not good at your job. You know, like if you think about them giving away Bluey, that annoys me so much that they gave away Bluey, because the amount of money that would have come back into Australia via the ABC, that could have funded the film industry here for generations. We could have had a booming TV and film industry off of all of the merchandise money that Bluey could have made our country. Instead, it's going to the fucking BBC because Australians see something new and they just automatically assume that it's not going to work. And that's why every single entertainer worth any amount of money, like the people who made Bluey, like Jim Jeffries, like Hannah Gadsby, like every fucking musician that starts here and blows up, they leave because you ram your face into a brick wall trying to work with these fucking dinosaurs that look at any sort of new idea with derision and they go, fuck it, just give the new TV show to Will Anderson. And Will's great, but the man is like almost 50 now. He's been on TV since he was in his 20s. It's time to give somebody else another shot. And even Will himself has said this, but they're just scared of anything new. And then you end up with this horrible problem where the ABC is rotting and rotting and rotting and losing viewership to the point now where, let's say they do give some 22-year-old a shot who has a lot of potential. It's not going to take because no one's fucking watching it anymore. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. No one's watching it because no one's watching it because no one's watching it. And there's no new talent because no one's watching it. And now, you know, if I'm a hilarious guy who has a lot of presenting chops, which I am, why the fuck would I even try and pitch a show to the ABC when I could just do a crowdfund for it and have a higher chance of getting more money and more creative freedom, put it online, and then hope some American talent agency sees it and picks it up? You know, that's the path now for creators, and it's because dinosaurs who are scared of changing anything are in charge of all of our networks. And that's especially frustrating when you consider, because for the private networks, I understand it. They have to make money. They can't lose money. They have to do safer type shit, right? I get that. But it's very frustrating when we have a government-funded program that literally exists to preserve Australia, preserve and promote Australian culture, and to have Australian voices presenting Australian culture and news and issues and stuff like that. It doesn't exist to turn a profit. It should just be fostering new talent and helping launch new Australian voices and supporting the Australian arts. But all that we've seen since the boom of the internet, since literally when I started blowing up on Facebook in 2012, is just disgust and derision from all of these people working at the ABC. And that's a real shame for them because now, after a decade of them turning their backs on online creators, some of them are starting to see the truth, but it's too late. And online creators look at the ABC and go, even if I got paid more, why would I want to be there? There's nothing for us and no one's watching. And it's because they look at the biggest guy on the biggest news sort of platform and they go, oh, he's probably just evil without even watching a second of it. That sucks. Anyway, guys, if you want to support independent Australian comedy that's actually good, Patreon, you know where it is. You get a bunch of stuff. Speaking of, you know what we did? Finally, and I'm going to stop yapping about the Patreon after this. We finally did the Warhammer episode. And it's one of the longest Patreon episodes we've ever done. And it's just me walking you through minute by minute my experience at Warhammer World in Nottingham, England.
Nottingham.
I shouldn't say it with their accent. But dude, just a little teaser. I brought the booklet, mate, and I walked all the way through it. Keelan didn't even fall asleep. Pretty good. Anyway, back to some classic Spears shenanigans. I went into the city to do a gig, right? Which is a big effort for me because I live in Frankston and I have no license because I'm 30 and a fucking invalid. And next month, I'm going to be 31 with no license. What? Yeah. That's crazy. That's not on. My son's 17. He turns 17. It's actually possible that he gets his license before me. He turns 18 in God, it might be like 9 or 10 months.
What? Already?
Yeah, because he's 17.
Oh, I still feel like he's 12.
Me too.
Yeah. Well, he can drive you around to the city.
No, he can't. Because if he gets his license before me, I have to kill myself. That's the bargain that I made with myself. So, and that's, no pressure on you, buddy. That's all on me. I have to get it. But anyway, I get on the train and so fucked. I'm 30. I have gray hair. I'm getting on the train. Not because it's convenient, because I have to. Because getting on the train when it's convenient is great. Like, it'd be so much easier. Don't have to worry about parking. It only take 20 minutes. Getting on the train because you have to. I have to get an Uber to the train station. Yeah, I should put a bullet in my brain. Man. Yeah, it's not good. Because I live in Frankston, getting picked up from your house to go to the train station in Frankston is you're just telegraphing a message directly to the Uber driver like, oh, I lost my license because of drink driving. That's what that says. Like on a Saturday night, 30-year-old man gets an Uber to the train station, $15 trip. I lost my license because I drink drive.
$15 is
so much cheaper than owning a car, insurance, petrol. Sucked in. I win. Checkmate. Fuck you.
You have to catch the train though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've lost that one. Yeah. I honestly, financially, I'm coming out way on top. It's so much cheaper to not have a car, and it's so not worth it. I'm saving so much time and losing so much of my life. But I do get to draw on the train. That's good. But anyway, halfway to the city, my favorite thing happens. And if you've seen my show this year, the tour this year, replacement buses. Oh, dude. Still happening, right? And we get off halfway to the city. There's a woman yelling at the poor, like, minimum wage worker whose only job is to stand there and go, city, this bus, Frankston, that bus. She's yelling at him, going, the train's been cancelled. She, Oh my God. Did that almost send a text to someone?
Yeah, you should check.
Oh no. Surely my phone hasn't just sent a text to someone. Oh, thank God. Because did that say Andrea Helper Lady? That's a woman that I met once 6 months ago and she helped me with something. And I almost sent her a text going, this fucking stupid woman. Oh, thank God. Yeah, please close the laptop. That was almost like a red alert emergency scenario. You know who that woman is? That woman is someone who helped me, or who I helped, because one day I was walking in my neighborhood and there was like a 20-something-year-old guy who was just on drugs, walking up and down the street going, "Ugh." And this woman was following him in her car. I assumed it was her son or something, and she's like distraught trying to help the guy get home. And I'm watching her going, fuck, this is probably could be a dangerous situation for her. So I go, can I please get in your car and help this guy get home? And we help the guy get home. We call a welfare check. He's all good. But I have her phone number because I think the cops wanted to talk to both of us. So that would have been a terrible text message to send to that woman. Anyway, enough about crackheads in Frankston from like a year ago. It's time to talk about crackheads from Frankston from last week. This woman is yelling. We get off the train. We're waiting for the bus. This woman is yelling at the poor replacement bus info people. She's going, well, why do we have to get on a bus? Why, you guys are doing roadworks? Why do we have to get off the train? And the guy's like, because they're doing work on the tracks. Like, so you can't drive over the top of railroad workers. That's why, you stupid fucking Karen bitch. And she goes, what? How's this? She goes, well, there's 2 tracks. Why can't you just put the train on the other side? Oh, good idea. Let's have a head-on fucking collision. Do you know why there's 2 tracks? Because one's going one way, the other one's going the other. Fucking genius. Stupid. Dumb bitch. What a like I literally said, she's yelling at this guy. I'm in a shit mood. Oh, why do we have 2 tracks? And I'm like, because we would crash. What are you yelling at him for? And then she started yelling at me, and then another guy came out and started going, no. And he was obviously very autistic, and he just didn't like people fighting. And this is going on, and I'm so close to snapping. The bus pulls up. We all pile on the bus. In the corner of my eyes, I see 2 fucking crack goblins huddled over themselves, lighting something, homeless blokes. They're obviously smoking something out of the view of everyone else. And I'm like, oh, that's classic, right? And then I hope they don't get on my bus. Guess who got on my bus and sat fucking across from me? Homeless bloke, crackhead. Right? So we're on this full bus. It's hot. By the way, I'm running late to my gig now. I'm thinking, I don't know if I'm going to make it to my gig, but what's really cool is say I was going to be so late that I couldn't make the gig, right? But I'm on a train. You know what I could do? I could just get off the train at the next stop and get on a train, just go home, right? But when you're on a bus that's going express to the city, when you work out that once you get to the city, you know, you're not going to make the gig. You can't get off the bus, so I'm just going to the city for no reason now. So now I'm fucking fuming. And there's this homeless guy across from me, which is fine, all right? If a homeless person should be anywhere, it should be on public transport. They've got just as much a right to it as I do. But when they're sitting next to this... So there was 2 guys. They split up, right? Because there wasn't enough seats. There was only single seats. So they split up. One guy goes and sits at the back of the train, right? Starts playing music, okay? On his fucking speaker.
On the bus, you mean?
On the bus. Yeah, on the bus. I'm not on a train. I'm on a bus. I wish I was on a train. That'd be sad enough, Keelan, if this was happening on a fucking train. I'm 30 years old. I'm on a bus. Across the aisle from me are like 2 16-year-old girls. That's who should be on the bus. Them and the homeless guy. Well, maybe not together, but that's the and senior citizens. You know what I'm trying to say. The homeless man should not be with the 16-year-old. You know what I'm trying to say. I'm not in the demographic of regular bus riders anymore. I shouldn't be there.
A 31-year-old man.
I'm not 31.
Shouldn't be.
I'm 30. I'm 31 on January 16. I could get my license between now and then. Can't afford the lessons. God, support me on Patreon. That's the real reason why I want the annual membership, so I can pay, what was his name? Paul, to come back and teach me how to drive. God, I miss Paul. Anyway, the homeless blokes, it was so funny. I'm sitting in one of the only double seats with a free seat across the aisle, right? I as the homeless blokes are getting on, I see that there's only single seats left, and I'm like, I need to make myself look as unappealing as possible because I do not want to sit next to homeless bloke who was probably doing drugs, right? So I just put my leg up on the seat like this, and he sees that and he walks past me, thank God, and he sits next to this other guy sucked in, who's not as aware. One thing about me, I'm very aware when I'm out in public. I'm scanning a lot. All right, I'm very aware, and there are so many people that when they're out in public, they're just so unaware, where they'll bump into shit or there'll be dangerous stuff going on and they won't even see it. I'm always scanning. I'm aware. I live in Frankston. I have to be, right? So I see this guy coming from a mile away and I make it look very unappealing to sit next to me. He doesn't. He sits next to this like 45-year-old bloke who's a big guy. And I see the guy go, it's okay. Homeless people are allowed to use the bus. It's okay. And then we take off driving. And after about 10 minutes, right, I work out that I'm going to miss my gig and I start snapping. And while I start snapping silently in my seat going, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Why the fuck did I even agree to do this gig? Why would I get on a 3-hour round trip to the city from Frankston for 10 minutes? That's not even paid. What the fuck am I doing with my life? Is it really that important to write this next year's tour, to do this 10? What would I really have gotten out of this? If I got to do the gig and it went really well, would it have been worth it even then? Probably not. I'm doing all of that. I'm just fucking catastrophizing. I'm spiraling in my own head, right? And then homeless bloke across the aisle from me starts going, whatever he's taken is kicking in. And he starts doing these ones, leaning forward and to the left, onto the other bloke. Now, if that was me, I would go, get the fuck off me. I would have snapped. But this other bloke, sometimes you can be too polite. Now, when I say homeless guy, he was not a scary looking dude. He looked like 50 something, which probably meant he was 32. Like that's me if I don't get my license by 32, I'll be that guy on the bus going, it's the only way that'll make the bus trip bearable. He just tolerates it, which is such a bad move because then the crackhead just forgets that he's sitting next to someone and just starts doing and then the music is playing behind me. I pull out my fucking earplugs and I put them in. And that helps a little bit, but I'm still snapping. Don't fucking say it.
Say what?
Whatever, man.
Something about you being on the bus?
Yeah, I'm on the bus. Got my earplugs in. God. That's maybe the most retarded thing I've ever done. And I mean like literally doctor's definition of retarded is just a 30-year-old on a public transport on a bus getting sensory overwhelm and putting fucking earplugs in because he's autistic.
Can I tell you something?
You would like when I put my earplugs in, you would have thought the moaning was coming from me, not the homeless guy.
When I have to go to the city, I have to do it quite a lot.
Yeah.
I do it in the comfort of my own car.
Right. I'm very jealous. So this guy starts fucking moaning and whatever he's taking is kicking in. And then 20 minutes of that. I'm just, yeah. And at some point it becomes funny because he keeps like leaning on the other guy. And it's and because I've got my autistic earplugs in, I've now been soothed a little bit. So now I'm watching it like a TV show. I'm waiting for the other guy to snap, but he has a lot of patience that I don't have, right? Then it starts to get annoying again, and then we're still 20 minutes away. Like I feel like I've been on this bus for an hour. I probably was, right? Then drugs must really be kicking in. Crackhead forgets where he is. He pulls out like a little pipe.
No.
And a lighter.
What?
Yeah. And he...
Oh, my God.
Because I see it in the corner of my eye. I just see the spark. And I'm like, huh? And then I see that he's trying to light something. I'm like, what the fuck? And then he kind of puts it away. I'm like, okay, good. And then 5 minutes go by. He pulls it out again and he lights it up properly. And I just go, hey! Don't smoke that shit on the bus, man. There's fucking kids on board. And he turns around like, oh, I'm sorry. And I said, don't say sorry. Don't smoke on the bus.
Nice.
And then he starts going, dude, I said sorry. I'm like, all right, don't smoke on the bus. There's fucking kids on board. Now I'm scaring the 16-year-old girls. And in that moment, and then from then on, I was like, great. Now, instead of enjoying the rest of the bus trip, watching the guy flop onto the other bloke, I have to now watch the homeless guy to make sure that he doesn't fucking flip out and kill me. So yeah, so I saved everyone on board. That's what I'm trying to get to, is that thank God I was on that bus. Because no one else was going to say it.
That actually sucks.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Ruined my fucking whole day and night. Then I was just all like activated and fucking buzzing. Like that was the type of shit where like I probably just would have bombed if I made it to the gig, because I would have just been like in ready to fight a crackhead mode. And look, I wouldn't recommend, I don't do, like, I know I've told a couple of stories of me yelling at people on public transport. Like, a few months ago, I talked about yelling at a guy that was talking to a woman that didn't want to talk to him. I always assess if it's safe to do so first before even thinking about saying something. And by safe, I mean, like, if it came down to it, could I put this guy's teeth into the back of his neck if I had to? That's what I mean. And does this guy look likely to have a knife? Because you got to do that shit now. So yeah, I don't necessarily encourage stepping in, but also fucking somebody has to do it. Like, the bystander effect is real powerful, man. Like, you just think about that guy that was like sitting next to the homeless dude who was constantly, and he smelled like shit, right? Which I have sympathy for homeless people, but not when they're doing drugs on a bus with kids, right? So you think of it like, that guy like let this unwashed homeless man like rub all in his personal space while he's tripping on drugs because he kind of didn't want to be rude or because no one else was saying anything. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just got to fucking be the first man to say something, especially when you're a man. You got to be the first person to fucking talk about unacceptable behavior in public, because you do it, and often you'll find other people just go, oh, fuck yeah, that is not cool, and they'll back you up. But someone's got to be that first person to do it, and you got to have that awareness as well. To assess whether it's safe to do so, whether you'll make... Because another thing is, like, sometimes you can make it way worse. You know? Like, sometimes you do just got to let them go and fucking... to keep everybody safe. Sometimes it's not worth flipping out on someone. And, you know, I didn't flip out. I didn't scream. I was like... Based on the volume that I did, that's what I did. Just scared him a little bit. So we love the bus. I fucking hate the bus so much, brother. You know what? You want to maybe do it? Maybe go, you know what? I'm not doing any more gigs this year. I've got Perth in January, doing the Fringe. I'm just going to be writing until then. And because if I don't, I'm like, you know what another thing as well is like, I don't want, this is going to sound so fucking arrogant, but I have reached the point where I think I might be too famous to be on the bus. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to get on a bus and have like a third of the bus essentially be like, why are you on the bus?
Why don't you just...
No.
I don't think you need lessons. You should just be able to like...
I think that I just need to go and do that because I know all the road rules and I've driven on roads and highways and shit like that. I was in a really good routine of it just before the COVID lockdowns and stuff like that. I think I do need some lessons to learn how to park. That's all I need. Yeah. Like I think I'm just like I'm gonna text my guy. If the Patreon stuff, when the Patreon money comes in, I'm gonna text my guy and I'm gonna say, mate, can you get me my license in 8 lessons? I reckon I could do it.
In 8 lessons? What
Probably
do you
less.
Mean? Yeah, 2 lessons.
I feel like I feel like I'm a much better driver than I think that I am. I do lack a lot of confidence. Something about it freaks me out, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
But I just got to do it. Because if one day I have to look at my son from the passenger seat, I'll have to get him to do 100 on a highway so I can jump out the door while it's moving. So, yeah. Have you been watching these Wicked interviews that Ariana Grande and what's the other girl's name?
Cynthia.
That green chick? Cynthia is her name.
Arivo.
Arivio?
Yeah.
Cynthia Arivio?
Yeah, I think so.
But her name is Cynthia.
Yes.
I think she has like 6. She's got like 6 names, literally. I looked it up the other day and she has like 6 names.
Yeah, I'd never heard of her before.
Me neither, but she's apparently very, very famous. I assume she's got cast in Wicked. You know what's fascinating me about Wicked? I did not know how popular the movie was going to be. I thought it was going to be a flop. I thought, who the fuck would want to... I literally thought, who the fuck is going to see that? And everyone I know is seeing it. Everyone. You've seen it.
I saw it. I saw it on the weekend.
I've got family that are seeing it.
I really liked it. I really liked the Glee cover of Defying Gravity. That's what made me go see it.
It's a good song. Yeah. I saw Wicked live, it might have been more than 10 years ago when it was in Melbourne on stage. How it's meant to be seen. Man, it was amazing. But I've always kind of thought, why the fuck would you want to see a musical in a cinema? Because to me, so much of the musical experience, kind of like comedy, is that you're there and it's in the moment and you're live and that. But it was a good movie.
I really, really liked it. I did fall asleep, but...
Well, it's long. It's two hours and 40 minutes and it's part 1.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. Because I think, my memory's foggy, but I'm probably right. I'm pretty sure the musical is a similar length, but you get a big intermission in the middle. 2 hours and 40 minutes in the cinema, no breaks, is wild. That's a long time.
Yes, and I went to the bathroom at one point. There's a bunch of dads sitting at the front just on their phones, like out of the cinema, out of the theater, I mean.
Oh, you reckon they checked out?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, fuck this green bitch singing.
Yeah. It was really good. I knew nothing about it other than Defying Gravity.
Wow.
You know, there's a few songs actually I did know.
It's a pretty good story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just looked at it and I was like, who the fuck would want to see Ariana Grande in a musical? Apparently everyone.
True.
But what I am loving, what I am watching, I can't get enough of, is their interviews that they're doing. Ariana Grande and Cynthia. I feel like every 3 days I'm scrolling social media and I'm just seeing them touching each other way too much across from an interviewer, crying. One of them is crying. or both of them are crying about the most nonsensical questions. Like, did you see the one about holding space?
Yeah, that was good.
This one lady interviewer, can you look up, she actually came out and gave an interview about that interview. We'll read that after this. So there's this clip rolling around of this lady interviewer talking to Ariana Grande and Cynthia, and she goes, do you know that a lot of people are holding space with this song? And then goes to say the rest of her sentence. And then Cynthia goes, oh my God, I had no idea people were doing that. People are holding space with this song, and then starts crying. And then Ariana Grande starts crying. And then the interviewer looks fucking shocked and goes, yeah, they are. And is like so taken aback by the giant emotional response from Cynthia that she just kind of doesn't finish her question. But her question, and everyone's going, what the fuck does that question even mean? That makes no sense. I feel like I'm watching a clip from Interdimensional Cable. This doesn't make any sense at all. The interviewer has come out and kind of agreed with everyone and gone, well, actually, I was about to finish my question and it would have made sense. But then I got taken aback by her extreme emotional response, so I just kind of didn't finish the question. Do you have what she was actually trying to ask?
No, not what you're saying, but what I've found is her name's Tracy Gilchrist.
Yeah.
And she said that, to me, it means to be in the moment, to be fully open to something and not to be cynical. To hear something like a song like Defying Gravity that you have heard 100 times and to have it hit you in a new way.
Because that's another thing that's funny is she didn't even write the fucking song.
Yeah.
It's like she's, I had no idea people were doing that with my song. You didn't write it, and you're not even the first person to sing it either. Hundreds of women have sung this song across different stages. It's just a weird thing to start crying about.
They're crying in every interview they do.
I think they have some weird as fuck friendship or some unhealthy dynamic. If they're doing this in interviews, they must have been doing this on set the entire time. You know, the movie's 2 hours and 40 minutes. Could you imagine how many takes got stopped because someone was crying?
So this is on Reddit, someone asking about it.
Yeah.
in r/autism. Someone just asked what it means, and this guy goes, from what I understand, it's just TikTok language to mean thinking about. I guess at the point of the interviewer was something along the lines of, I'm in queer media and I've seen a lot of people relating to queer experience with the lyrics of Defying Gravity. That's it.
The best part about that clip of her crying is it cuts. So interviewer asked the question, I'm in queer media and a lot of people are holding space with this song. And it cuts to Cynthia. She immediately starts to cry. Ariana Grande is holding one of her fingers like me when I pick up my dog's shit in a bag. She's just holding a single finger. Look at it. Look at this expression on Ariana's face. Oh, this bitch is going to start crying again. Like she's so sick of comforting her when she cries mid-interview that all she can bring herself to do is hold on to a finger. So funny. Tracy has opened up about her encounter with Cynthia. So this is what I was trying to find, Keelan. Mate, don't apologize to me. Apologize to the listeners.
Sorry, everyone.
That's right. And leave a comment below. Do you forgive Keelan? It's okay if you don't.
Wasn't sure what he was talking about.
So Tracy goes, I'm in queer media and a lot of people are holding space with the song. Cynthia goes, oh my God, gay, because Cynthia's gay. So she's going, oh my God, gay women everywhere are holding space with my song, I've Changed the World, right? Interviewer Tracy has said, she admitted she did not anticipate the actor having such a strong emotional response to what she was saying. She also confessed that the crux of the question actually stemmed from a conversation she'd had with a friend, not from a group of people or gay women. That's funny. So she just said, Tracy was asked if she could recall any of the posts that inspired her question, and she said, "Oh, most of it actually came from a conversation with a friend," which is so funny because she was just like, "Oh, my mate really likes your song," and then Cynthia was like, "Oh my God, I'm changing the world." Tracy also defined exactly what she meant by holding space, telling the publication, "Holding space is being physically, emotionally, and mentally present with someone or something. For me, it means being in the moment, not being distracted and feeling something on a cellular level. I think you can hold space with lyrics of a song one you've heard hundreds of times, and it can suddenly take on a new meaning when you're a queer person." When Cynthia sings, "I'm through accepting limits," there's power in that. She plays a character who is othered, one who comes to her full power when she is exiled by a charlatan, by a cruel leader. What were you saying?
I forgot now.
Great. Well, thank you so much for that.
It's a good movie, though. I really, really enjoyed it.
I'm not going to see it
Why?
because it's 2 hours and 40 minutes. And also, I've seen the live thing. So I feel like I feel like if I see that movie, I'm going to forget the experience that I had in the live. Now, that's the version of Wicked I want to keep. And also, I'm sure that Ariana Grande is great in the movie, but I can't watch movies with people that are that famous for not acting because I won't see her character. I'm just going to see Ariana Grande and I'm going to go, "Oh, she looks sick."
True.
It's like in the last Marvel film I saw in cinema. Like I had a gut reaction, a visceral. The second I decided that I was done with Marvel films was at the end of, I can't even remember what movie it was. It was that average. They did one of their end of scene cameos, and it was a character that I quite liked from the comic books. And in walks fucking Harry Styles. And I looked at Harry Styles and I just went, I think I'm done with Marvel movies. I think that's enough for me. And I haven't seen one since. And great decision.
I actually think I haven't seen one since the same movie. Harry Styles Marvel movie.
I think that was the
Eternals.
I
haven't even seen Eternals.
I think that, like, the Eternals was, I really think it was Marvel's, they were really pushing, like, this is the next Marvel, like, starting point. Because I was checked out for a while. So I went and saw Marvel's because I thought, oh, yeah, it looks kind of cool. And, Eternals, not Marvel's. I don't even know what movies are out now. But I thought, oh, yeah, Eternals looks kind of cool. And then Harry Styles showed up in a fucking costume, and I thought, that's enough from you guys. That's it. No, thank you.
Sorry, what do you think about this?
Keelan's showing me a picture. What is that? I can't.
Someone's
recognize it.
shaved pubes.
Oh. Oh, because I'm supposed to do a Manscaped ad. Guys, manscaped.com, use code 20spears for 20% off and free shipping. I was going to say, can you make sure you edit that into the podcast, but we certainly can't. Whatever that guy used, it wasn't the lawnmower 4.0 or 5.0, whatever fucking number they're up to. That sucks. I'm trying to get excited about this brilliant product, the Manscaped, and now I'm upset. Guys,
why? What are you upset about?
I was just very confused and staring at something, and then it was revealed to be someone's pimply pubic region. Manscaped.com, use code 20spears. The greatest URL and discount code to support the show. One of the best ball bag trimmers in the game, guys. I'm actually excited to use my facial trimmer that arrived the other week. Actually, it's been great. I'm getting into grooming and figuring out how to trim different lengths for different parts of my face, and I've been looking a lot better. And it's all thanks to Manscaped.com. And all of their different trimmers. They've got ball bag trimmers. They've got face trimmers. Really good Christmas gift, like for real. Best beard and pube trimmers I've ever used. They're really, really great. So head over to manscaped.com, use code 20spears, and support the brands that support the show. That's how we keep this thing running. And and hopefully I'll remember the read next time on my own so that Keelan doesn't do that to me.
That was funny.
That was good. That was funny. It just upset me a lot.
Really?
No. You know what the problem is? I was actually in quite a good mood, and then I started just talking about the bus ride that I took last week, and it's put me in a foul state. I'm still upset that I had to go through that. It would have been much better for everyone if that guy was just smoking heroin on the bus and I wasn't there to stop him.
What should we do miscellaneous bit at the end then?
Yeah, but you know what? I'm only doing it on Spotify. That's it. You know why? Because Spotify wants us to get our numbers up, our listening hours up, so that we can get discovered more. So we have about 2,000 hours we need to get this month. So what we're going to do is we're going to do miscellaneous bit at the end over on Spotify. I have here a great subject line. Keelan, you're going to love this. Last week was a great miscellaneous bit at the end. This week may rival it. So we've got this subject line. Oh, what?
I don't know. I just...
So I'm going to read the subject line, and then we're going to read this email over on Spotify. So check out the Spotify version of this episode.
Or the Patreon version.
Oh, the Patreon version's up in full, and the Patreon podcast is up as well. This is the subject line. Oh, and if you want to send an email to the show, podcast@loosebeers.com is the email. Morally questionable. Great start. Morally questionable friend group orgy. I'm not done. Morally questionable friend group orgy involving my closest friends. And it's a few paragraphs. We're going to do that over on Spotify right now. I'll see you there. Thanks for listening. Have a shit one. Bye.